So this video is going to be for you if you're a man over 30 and you feel like you're putting in a ton of effort, maybe you're training hard, doing a lot of cardio, running, maybe meal prepping, but for some reason, no matter what you do, you can't seem to shift that stubborn belly fat. Maybe you're able to lock in Monday to Thursday, but by the time the weekend rolls around, everything starts to feel so random, everything starts to unravel. Maybe you skip a workout, maybe you eat something that you demonize as bad, and then you're standing on the scale on Sunday night and you're like, what is going on? I remember being stuck in this loop for almost 3 years. I started to believe I was the problem. I remember looking at other people in the gym that were training nowhere near as hard as me, and I was like, what do they know that I don't know? What am I getting wrong? And I promise you, if you're in this situation, you're not the problem, and the answer isn't more cardio, it's not more workouts, it's not more restricted with your diet. In fact, there's a very simple solution. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to close that gap between where you are now, spinning your wheels, not seeing any results, to where you want to be. Ultimately, that healthier, happier, more confident version of you. Now, there are 5 stages that every man will go through when he's trying to burn fat, build muscle, shift his identity, and form new habits and behaviors. It's called the 5 stages of behavior change. And if you don't understand how it works, it will be the reason that you get stuck in that rebound loop, stuck in that cycle of overtraining, undereating, and seeing no results. So stage 1 is uninformed optimism. This is where willpower, motivation, everything's an all-time high. This is where you're like, you know what, I've just booked a holiday, or maybe it's the start of the new year. Tell your friends and family, get everything bad out of the house. This is my time. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. So you get your workout from ChatGPT, or you get a random meal plan that you found online. After a couple of weeks, you hit stage 2, informed pessimism. This is where the novelty starts to wear off. This is where life starts to get in the way and motivation starts to disappear. And you're like, hold on, this is going to be harder than I thought. And because most people are so confused by all the conflicting information out there, they have no idea what actually works. So they throw everything at the wall, hoping something would stick. But the problem with that is their nutrition and training plan doesn't fit into their life. As a result, they hit too many of these friction points. A friction point is where the goals you want to achieve clash with the life you want to live. Because yes, you want to burn fat, build muscle, and get in shape, but actually deep down, you don't want to do it at the cost of having to be in the gym 5 times a week, or not being able to have big family dinners or weekends away without being anxious that you have to track every calorie. Otherwise, you're going to fall off plan and everything's going to unravel. So most people at this point will end up doubling down. More strict, more discipline, more willpower. After a few weeks, they'll hit what I call the valley of despair. And then they jump on the scale, they look in the mirror, and they have no idea how to track their progress. So they're like, I have no idea if this is working. And because most people don't actually deep down trust themselves or the process, they're always second guessing it, and they end up falling off plan. And then they wait to get motivated again, hit another pain point, book another holiday, and then they repeat this process. They get motivated. After a couple of weeks, they hit stage 2, where the novelty starts to wear off. Then they double down, and stage 3, they hit the valley of despair, and then eventually they fall off. That is the stagnant man loop. Every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you lose trust and you lose confidence in yourself. And I know how frustrating it is. I was stuck there for almost 3 years, spinning my wheels, and I started to believe I was the problem. It was having a really negative knock-on effect on the rest of my life. So I was becoming grumpy, tired, I was lethargic, and that was a massive contradiction, because I was doing this to become a healthier, happier, more confident version of me for my family. It was having the exact opposite effect, which is absolutely mental now when I think about it. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again, expecting a different result. That's exactly what I was doing. If you're stuck in this stagnant man loop, there's a very simple 3-phase solution. Number 1 is get crystal clear on what it is you actually want. So many people have no idea, so they're trying to burn fat, build muscle, do everything at the same time. They're sending conflicting information to the body, and as a result, they do neither of them well. So first, you need to get really clear on what it is you actually want. Then you need to set targets, what you're meant to be seeing each week, each day, each month. And then set an end date, because most people fall into what I call the continuous dieting approach. They're like, right, I'm just going to train as hard as I can, cut my calories, and stick to it until I hit my goal. But that's so mentally taxing. Think about it. If there's no end date, then you'll always delay, there's no urgency, and you'll always get stuck in this I'll start again on Monday trap. So get crystal clear on what you're trying to achieve, burn fat, build muscle, go all in on that, set some tangible targets so you know exactly what you're meant to be seeing each day, each week, each month, and then get crystal clear on an end date. Phase 2 is what I call the minimum effective dose stack. So many people try and do this all or nothing approach. As a result, it doesn't fit into their life, and it creates too many of these friction points. The goal is not to white knuckle your way through it. It's actually the exact opposite. You want to reduce the friction between the goals you want to achieve and the life you want to live. You want to have an approach to nutrition and training where the barrier of resistance is low enough that you can stick to even on the days you don't feel like it. For me, that was training 2 to 3 times a week, and instead of following rigid meal plans, that was having a couple of flexible nutrition tools in my toolbox that made sticking to my calorie deficit number as easy as possible. I found having an eating window, 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating, built discipline around my nutrition, cut out snacking, meant that I can condense my calories into a small eating window so I could feel full and satiated and still stick to that calorie deficit number. And another really important point is you want to have a variety of those tools in your toolbox, because the same tool that you can stick to Monday to Thursday when you're locked in routine with kids at work isn't the same tool that you need when you go out for beers with the boys or take your wife out for dinner, whatever it is, weekends away. So you need a variety of these tools in these toolbox that you can pull out at different times that make sticking to that calorie deficit number as easy as possible, because the best nutrition plan is the one you can actually stick to. And the next is what I call the 2-hour training protocol. So many people think that if not seeing results results in the gym, it's because they're not doing enough. So they're training 4, 5, 6 times a week, doing a ton of cardio, and then their body's like, hold on, we need to increase our energy input. So they're overtraining, and then they're spending the rest of the time battling their hunger and cravings. They get stuck in a shame spiral of overeating, and then like, right, I've just got to burn more calories to make up for it. And then the more calories they burn, the more hungry they get, and it becomes, just a really negative place to be. So for most people, if you're in a fat loss phase, you need to do 2 to 3 full body workouts a week. That's it. That's the minimum amount you need to maintain and build lean muscle and manage your recovery. And step 3 is the glue that holds all of this together. Someone to hold you accountable. To help you stack up evidence that you are someone can follow through, you then get to informed optimism, the holy shit moment. This is actually working. Are those my abs? And that is where the magic happens, because once you start seeing results, that's when motivation and confidence appears. It's not the other way around. So many people get this wrong. They think they need motivation to get started, then they throw everything at the wall, white knuckle their way through it, motivation and willpower disappear, they double down, and then they hit the valley of despair, they second guess everything. If you do not have someone to hold you accountable, you are always going to second guess yourself. You're going to get over emotional, you're going to fall for the next shiny thing, and you're going to end up jumping from one thing to another, never able to stick to anything long enough to see any tangible result. But when you've scaled everything back, you have an approach to nutrition and training that you can stick to, and you have someone to hold you accountable, to guide you through the process long enough to start seeing results, then your motivation and confidence is at an all-time high. It becomes easy. You've already stacked up evidence that you are someone that can follow through. You've already got evidence that you are someone that can do this. And then ultimately that compounded gets you to your goal of being a healthier, happier, more confident version of you, whatever that looks like. And I promise you guys, if you're stuck in this stagnant man loop, the answer is not doubling down. It's reducing the bar of resistance between your goals and your life, and then having someone there to hold you accountable, to guide you through the process, to navigate the times where life throws you obstacles, to help you with consistency. Consistency compounded is what gets results. And once you build up that confidence, that inner quiet personal belief that you can follow through, it spills into every aspect of your life. Family life, your work life, how you show up for your friends, kids. It just becomes a beautiful snowball effect. And that's it, guys. That's the 3-phase solution to close the gap between where you are now, spinning your wheels, putting in a ton of effort, not seeing the results you're after, to where you want to be, to that healthier, happier, more confident version of you.